Greetings, my friends. Reformed Stoic here. So, quick video here for you. I wanted to talk a little bit about the men amongst the ruins and the fire within. This should be relatable to, or rather advice for, chosen ones, the beautiful ones, and the men amongst the ruins. If you don't know, that's a book by Julius Evola. I've read Revolt Against the Modern World by Julius Evola. I listened to Ride the Tiger on audiobook once. I must admit, it was kind of like background noise. Not that it wasn't good, I just didn't pay close enough attention. And I've actually never read Men Amongst the Ruins. But I digress. It's not really about Julius Evola. That is where I heard that term. But it's exactly the way life is for us. Look around you at the ruins of Western society. This is not new to you. This is not new to me. You have been betrayed. You have been lied to. You have been put up against. You have been mocked. You have been led on, and I don't mean by women, but I'm sure you have been led on by women. You're disappointed. You have been brutalized. You have been beaten. You have been battered. You have been ganged up against. And more than anything, you have been abandoned. I didn't know what I was going to say when I said more than anything, but maybe that's true. You've been abandoned, my friends. So, this idea that I'm going to describe, I want to make it very clear that there's nothing occult about it. Fire symbolism is something that has been around for quite a long time. You know, you have the 4 or 5 elements. There's water, wind, earth, fire, and then aether. And the Stoics were actually very deep into fire symbolism. They believed in like a fire of a spirit, or I believe what it was is they believed that your soul was made of fire or something like that. And God is described as fire in the Bible a few different times. There's definitely a fire element attributed to God many times. Once God is seen as a burning bush. But this concept I'm going to describe to you, this isn't about, having psychic powers or gathering energy or anything about that. This is about the development of your will that emerges from a flame of suffering. And that flame has been stoked by the very traitors and backstabbers and reprobate scum who have littered your life. And for that, you should be grateful. Now, you could say that this fire is within everyone. But to most people, to normies, it's something that they're afraid of. It's something that they actually try to dim. And because of this, when you become a chosen one, a beautiful one of the few remaining men among the ruins. So I will be adding that to the terms. Chosen ones is already popular. Beautiful ones from the Mouse Utopia experiment. I've been using that lately. And on top of that, we will add men among the ruins. Real men. Simply just men. Last of a dying breed. When you cultivate the fire that many are afraid of, that many try to keep down, put out, it's a fire that doesn't go out in anybody, which means that anybody can change, anybody can turn, anybody can learn to cultivate and develop this flame. But most don't, because it's painful. It's a painful flame, and when you are mocked, ridiculed, judged by society, when you are shamed. These are very common tactics in the modern world of social media. I just saw a thread earlier from someone who says that they're suicidal. I hope that they're just merely shit posting, my friends, but unfortunately, we're living in a time where male suicide rates are very high. He said that there was a secret Facebook group where women talk about guys on Tinder, and that women had said that he rejected and ghosted them, so people started to spray paint his car and spread rumors about him and attack him. And he said that this has pushed him over the edge. Very sad. Let's pray for our friend. That is an example of something that stokes the flames within someone who has not cultivated the flame. The heat intensifies. People judging you and hurting you, spreading rumors. It's bad. Nobody, for the most part, likes to get judged, ridiculed, mocked, to be a victim of cancel culture, shaming culture. Okay? And it's like the fire within you, their shaming acts as wood, and then the fire grows, and then you feel the heat, and it burns, and it hurts. Now, ultimately, my friends, I feel like we are chosen by the flame because you are not able to escape from its pain. You would have to be a madman to seek out something that hurts you. So you could say, and this is what the normies will say, is like, you're not special. I'm just normal and you're weird. Well, they're right about the fact that they're normal. These are people who have not had the opportunity to cultivate the flame because it requires constant fuel for the flames. This is constant judgment, constant narcissistic abuse, okay? You need to be somebody who maybe was brought up by narcissistic parents and as a result had a lot of narcissistic friends in your life, okay? You didn't have proper boundaries. Maybe your teachers bullied you. Maybe you dealt with a toxic school system, toxic friends, toxic family members, toxic women, and you have had the kind of life that has just constantly fueled that fire within you to where you cannot escape from the flames of torment. Rug is very active right now, but we're hanging on. So what happens? It begins with you feeling like maybe you're going to be destroyed by the flame. But once you realize that the flame is somewhat of an illusion, it creates suffering if you let it. But when being forced to consistently endure the flame and its pain, you realize that it's almost not even really there. This is something that's been instilled in you by social norms as a mechanism of control. And once the flame can no longer control you, you can harness the flame. And then this flame that burns within you, you start stoking it with your own fuel. But instead of it being things like shame, and by all means, like, don't let shame bring you down, but you don't want to be like, yeah, I want to build this flame. Let's go get shamed. Let's go cause lots of problems with people. Let's seek lots of confrontation and maybe go on the internet and be really loud and say a lot of things that make people judge you. And you might go through a phase where you do something like that. But you will begin to realize that there are ways to stoke this flame that are beneficial to you. Let's throw my marijuana addiction into the flame. It's going to hurt a little bit, but you learn to not only endure it, but you learn to enjoy it. Let's throw my masturbation and pornography addiction into the flame. Let's throw my sinful nature into the flame. Let's take all the aspects of me that I don't like and throw it into the flame. And now all of a sudden you're using the flame to destroy things that are not beneficial to you. And people around you will start to notice this eventually. You will start to become a cultivated, chosen one, beautiful one, man, last of a dying breed among the ruins. This will scare people. And what will they do? All that they know, shaming, spreading rumors, but all that is fuel for your flame. Now you have to put yourself in the normie's shoes for a second. This creates a very terrifying individual. The blacksmith utilizes the flame to craft something. This is the sword. It is a beautiful sword. Okay, it's a wooden toy, but it represents a real sword. And these are crafted by smoldering fire. As you were, my friends, and if you're not there yet, you will be. I believe that other than the shills who try to deter me on this channel, which ultimately just ends up being more fuel for the fire, because I have to admit, as humbly as I can, I believe I've reached that point. I have dealt with a tremendous amount of social shaming. I have dealt with a tremendous amount of isolation. I have dealt with a tremendous amount of narcissistic abuse, betrayal, gossiping, rumor spreading, and because I have evidence, because I've had evidence for a long time that there are positive attributes about myself that differentiate me from these people. I believe that's the most humble way to say it. It only acts as fuel to my flame at this point. Now, it doesn't mean you seek out confrontation. It doesn't mean you're like, yeah, everybody judge me. I want to be a villain. And it can happen. You need to be careful. Because if you become an ally to the flame, it can create somewhat of a villain arc within you. But this, my friends, is how I vocalize what I believe that I've been going through for quite some time right now. The flame is within everyone, but most people purposely seek to put it out because they want to be normal, because they want to be accepted, because they want to fit in, because they don't want to be shamed. They don't want to be different. And I wanted to end this by talking a little bit about fanaticism. I believe it was one George Lincoln Rockwell, a very spicy source that I don't want to endorse on my channel. He actually preached a lot of things that I don't agree with, like Darwinism and evolution. But he said that he comes from a race of fanatics. My people have a tendency to fanaticism. And the normies, the news, they might try to write this off as being radical. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody be radical. I believe there's a difference between being fanatical and being radical. But we're living in a time where people try to merge the two concepts. Like, there's no such thing as being a fanatic anymore. You're either normal, regular, or you're a fanatic, radical, extreme. There's a disease of extremism spreading among people, which I don't encourage. But when you think about people like Nikola Tesla, I believe he died virgin. A lot of people think that he was blessed somehow, or maybe he was speaking to angels or demons or something. The man was an absolute just beast of accomplishment. You look at the geniuses of the world, the inventors, the innovators, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, great songwriters and builders, architects, people that drive forward progress, real progress, not phony SJW progress. Like, we're talking inventions. And in a recent video, I mentioned that, we're not seeing as many brilliant men because I believe that they're being pushed out of society. You know, universities are now for everyone. You know, it's like the new high school. And the intelligence outliers who, you know, maybe have like Asperger's or autism or aren't normal and don't fit in, well, they're all being pushed out of university. So we're not seeing those kind of people anymore. And if somehow you are able to cultivate your potential and you do come up with an invention, well, now a rabbit hole I'm going down is how after you patent something, if it's really good, the government might just suicide you and then steal your idea. So ultimately, the scientific community, the government, steals your idea and maybe kills you. So that's the society that I believe that we're living in today. But the fire is what creates fanatics. And, you know, this fire is just a metaphor that I have constructed. It's not a cult energy. It's not, oh, well, the fire sounds satanic or demonic. It's like, well, to be a little bit cliche to people who don't want to hear this, the fire comes from God, my friends. The fire is the moment when you realize that, God was there the entire time, and he allowed this to happen in my life because he knew that it would forge me into a diamond, into a sword, into a powerful weapon against lies, deceit, and inferiority. So, cultivate the fire, my friends. I feel like I could just sit here and poetically wax about it. It burns people. People have the audacity to do everything they can to dim it. Which is why when you become a chosen one, beautiful one, man amongst the ruins, last of a dying breed, you have a tendency to be disgusted by these people. Now, there's no reason to be disgusted by anybody who doesn't do you wrong. But if you're like me, your life has been peppered with like, you know that picture where it has the guy's point of view when he walks into a party and everybody at the party is looking at him like making the absolute most disgusted looks that they can? My life has just absolutely been peppered with that. So when I say there's a tendency to be disgusted by these people, it's because they're aggressive to you. And I believe that I have gotten to the point where a point that if you haven't gotten to, I have faith that you will get to, where the fire becomes your friend. People see that you've made improvement and they fear you and they try to put out your fire, but all that it does is fuel the fire. That's the point when people start trying to frame you for crimes and doing what they can to have your freedom taken away. I'm to a point where I value my freedom. That is what is important to me. You know, apart from my faith, apart from the things that I do, playing drums and working out and cultivating my channel, as long as I am free to walk about this world and I have not unjustly had my rights taken from me, I am a happy camper because I know that there is nothing anyone could ever do to dim my flame. And all you could ever do is make it burn brighter. God bless you, my friends. The same is coming for you. But you need to have faith. Until next time.